The CEO of Bunge tells Bloomberg and Reuters China is very deliberately not buying soybeans from the U.S.
The United States appears to be losing a major customer from the East. The giant Chinese customer is taking steps to reduce its purchasing power from the U.S. and redirecting it to other countries such as Brazil, Russia, and Europe, threatening the $690 billion trade relationship. This shift is sending shockwaves through global markets and signaling a seismic transformation in the economic dynamics between the two superpowers. This decision, driven by a combination of geopolitical tensions, trade disputes, and China's growing pursuit of economic independence, marks a critical juncture in U.S.-China relations. What's noteworthy is that the complexity of the relationship between these two powers seems to align with prophecies predicted centuries ago. If you're curious about what exactly is happening between these two nations, stay tuned until the end. A trade war escalates. Even as most Chinese support stabilizing ties with the United States, the entrenched view in Beijing and across the broader Chinese public remains that the U.S. desire to preserve its global hegemony is depriving China's right to develop, and that no amount of reassurance from Chinese leaders or a change in U.S. administrations will shift Washington's basic direction. Both political systems understand clearly that the other side is unlikely to budge on key issues. Beijing wants Washington to drop export controls on advanced chips, sanctions on Chinese companies like Huawei, and tariffs on Chinese imports, to curb its support for Taiwan, and to stop criticizing China's human rights record. Washington wants China to stop coercively advancing its claims vis-à-vis Taiwan and in the East and South China Seas, to curtail its unfair trade policies and non-market economic practices, and to drop its strategic partnership with Russia. There is zero chance Beijing or Washington will concede to the other's demands in the foreseeable future, and once Trump returns, the relationship between the U.S. and China will once again become a topic of global attention. For years, the two nations have been deeply intertwined, with China serving as a top consumer of U.S. agricultural products, energy resources, and technology. However, as the trade war intensifies and both countries vie for dominance on the world stage, this move highlights an escalating rift with far-reaching implications for industries, workers, and governments worldwide. This dramatic shift in U.S.-China trade relations can be traced back to the Trump administration's aggressive tariff policies, which marked the beginning of a protracted trade war between the two nations. In 2018, former President Donald Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on Chinese goods, citing unfair trade practices and a ballooning trade deficit. China responded with retaliatory tariffs, targeting key U.S. exports such as soybeans, automobiles, and energy products. These measures disrupted decades of trade cooperation, sowing mistrust and prompting China to diversify its import sources. While the Biden administration has taken steps to recalibrate the relationship, many of Trump's tariffs remain in place, perpetuating a climate of economic hostility. The cancellation of $690 billion in imports underscores how these policies have not only failed to achieve their intended goals, but also exacerbated the decoupling of the world's two largest economies, with China accelerating its efforts to reduce dependency on U.S. goods. Escalating tariff threats. But their complex relationship doesn't stop there. China's significant reduction in U.S. imports currently is a multifaceted issue influenced by various factors, including recent policy shifts and geopolitical tensions. President-elect Donald Trump's recent threats to impose additional tariffs on Chinese goods have likely exacerbated these trade dynamics. In late November 2024, President-elect Trump announced plans to implement sweeping tariffs as a measure to address issues such as illegal immigration and drug trafficking. These proposed tariffs include 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, aimed at curbing illegal immigration and drug flow. Additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods, intended to pressure China regarding fentanyl exports and other concerns. These measures are set to be among the first executive actions upon taking office. In reaction to these proposed tariffs, China has reduced imports of U.S. agricultural products, canceling substantial orders, such as over 500,000 metric tons of U.S. soft red winter wheat, diversified supply chains, increasing imports from alternative partners like Brazil and Russia to mitigate reliance on U.S. goods. Agricultural sector impact. China has notably canceled substantial orders of U.S. agricultural products. In March 2024, Chinese importers canceled shipments totaling over 500,000 metric tons of U.S. soft red winter wheat. This move compelled U.S. exporters to seek alternative markets, highlighting China's shift towards other suppliers. The United States and China have long been major trading partners, with goods and services exchanged between the two countries forming a critical component of the global economy. However, recent years have seen rising tensions over issues like tariffs, intellectual property disputes, and geopolitical conflicts, including Taiwan and technological dominance. In 2023, trade between the U.S. and China totaled around $690 billion, with China being a top buyer of U.S. agricultural products, technology, and energy. This symbiotic relationship, however, has been fraught with challenges stemming from tariffs imposed during the U.S.-China trade war and subsequent policy shifts. Let's make a little comparison. In 2022, the total value of U.S. trade in goods with China was approximately $690 billion, comprising $154 billion in exports and $537 billion in imports. The U.S. trade deficit with China increased by $29.4 billion to $382.9 billion, underscoring the deep economic interconnection between the two countries. China's decision to cancel or significantly reduce $690 billion worth of imports from the United States marks a pivotal shift in global trade dynamics. This development is not only a reflection of the escalating tensions between the two economic superpowers, but also indicative of a broader strategy by China to diversify its supply chains and assert economic independence. To be clear, China's decision to cancel $690 billion in U.S. imports is a clear signal of the deepening rift between the two superpowers. This move challenges the existing trade order, forcing the U.S. to reevaluate its economic policies and global trade strategies. As China continues to strengthen its position in the global economy, the ramifications of this shift will be felt across industries, borders, and markets worldwide. The shocking prediction. And coincidentally, the signs of the gradual rift between the two sides are exactly what was prophesied long ago. Nostradamus simultaneously mentioned a famous leader and a powerful country in his prophecy. At first, he made his predictions while in a trance-like state. During these sessions, he spoke of a leader who would emerge during a time of great turmoil, a figure who would challenge the status quo and bring about change. According to this prophet, this leader would be a person of great influence, someone who would disrupt the status quo and cause societal polarization. When we consider these prophecies in the context of Donald Trump, the similarities are striking. This leader as someone coming from an unexpected background, not a traditional politician, but an outsider with a strong and controversial personality. This description fits Donald Trump perfectly, a man who rose as an unconventional figure in politics, from his background as a real estate tycoon and reality TV star to his surprising victory in the 2016 election. Trump has consistently defied norms and expectations. Casey also spoke of the impact this leader would have on the nation, predicting a period of significant change and upheaval. Under Trump's administration, the U.S. has experienced a lot. Moreover, Casey's predictions often included references to economic and global changes. He foresaw a time when the giant would face financial challenges, but also opportunities for economic transformation. A confrontation around China is something that many geopolitical experts and journalists have started to see in the changing dynamics and rise of China as a global power. In the past, China has showcased its brute force several times in regions around the South China Sea and Taiwan, most of them through its naval ships. Analysts believe this may allude to the escalating conflict in Asia, with China involving NATO countries, potentially leading to a violent military conflict or an all-out war. Nostradamus also predicted something similar to this centuries ago. In one of his quatrains, he wrote about combat and naval battle. He said that the Red Adversary will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. Some think that the Red Adversary could be referring to China. The current focal point of global concern is the rise of China as a dominant force. It's interesting to note that some of Nostradamus's prophecies may have referenced this emerging trend shortly. Nostradamus states in a verse that opens with a vision of battle and maritime warfare that the Red Adversary will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. Scholars are busy decoding whether Red Adversary refers to communist China and whether the remaining quatrain would suggest a naval conflict. Moreover, reality continues to reveal that Nostradamus's prophecies about the United States and China seem to be gradually coming true. Not only that, Nostradamus also gave some other predictions about China, and America also. One of Nostradamus' famous prediction is the onset of a major economic crisis. His quatrain that states, "The great wealth of a nation will fall," has been interpreted as a warning of a financial collapse affecting major global economies in 2025. This prophecy suggests a possible financial meltdown beginning in Europe, particularly impacting countries like Italy and Greece, whose economies are already vulnerable. This economic collapse is also projected to affect the Americas. Some interpret Nostradamus' words as referring to a possible recession in the United States and hyperinflation in countries like Argentina, which could lead to social unrest and increased unemployment. While these situations are concerning, some believe Nostradamus' visions merely reflect the economic anxieties of any era, even if current interpretations align with contemporary fears. The return of Trump could very likely complicate the relationship between the two sides, especially as all paths seem to lead to outcomes that will impact the economy. Since the US and China imposed tit-for-tat tariffs in their trade war during Donald Trump's first presidential term, Beijing has taken steps to reduce its reliance on American farm goods in a wider effort to bolster its food security. That has put China in a better position to withstand tariffs of at least 60% on Chinese imports, threatened by Trump, set to return to the White House in January, raising the prospect of Chinese retaliation again targeted at U.S. agricultural goods. Not long ago, China announced a ban on the export of a number of minerals with military and technology applications to the U.S. The Chinese ban applies to the minerals antimony, gallium, and germanium. It also restricts the export of graphite. The minerals are used in a wide range of things, including semiconductors, infrared technologies, fiber optic cables, bullets, and electric vehicle batteries. China issued the new ban just 2 days after the U.S. curbed exports to 140 companies in China's semiconductor industry. The U.S. crackdown, the third in 3 years, was aimed at stymieing China's ability to advance artificial intelligence technologies for military applications. During Trump's first term in office, the tough-talking populist who promised to make America great again launched a bruising trade war with China, backlisted Chinese telecom giant Huawei on national security grounds, and blamed Beijing for the COVID-19 pandemic. By the end of his first term, bilateral relations had plunged to their lowest point in decades. This time around, Trump has threatened on the campaign trail to slap 60% tariffs on all goods made in China and revoke its permanent normal trade relations status, which has given China the most favorable trade terms with the U.S. for more than 2 decades. This punitive measure, if carried through, could deliver a body blow to an economy already beset by a property crisis, flagging consumer demand, falling prices, and mounting local government debts. Trump's proposed 60% tariffs on Chinese imports might backfire, potentially benefiting China in the long term because these measures could push China to strengthen its domestic consumption and reduce military spending. Meanwhile, the tariffs could cost U.S. consumers up to $78 billion annually in spending power, while possibly encouraging China to form stronger trade relationships with European nations. This economic pressure might accelerate China's path toward technological independence and economic reforms. Another prediction is that link to the financial thing. Nostradamus wrote a book with about 1,000 French quatrains divided into ages, most of which are undated prophecies for which he is famous to this day. One of them says, "Copies of gold and silver were inflated. After then, they were thrown into the lake. Everything was exhausted and dissolved by the debt. All scripts and links will be removed." We can understand that the copies of gold and silver are the banknotes, which, according to the prophecy, will lose much of their value because of their inflation and the extremely large debt all over the world. The quatrain has double reading. Nostradamus refers to the rise of cryptocurrencies during the year 2024. Copies of gold and silver can be considered cryptocurrencies that copy the status of precious metals as a reserve asset. And encryption is spreading at the speed of a Formula One racing car. New intangible coins will appear, and investors will flock to their digital world, as known as metaverse. Nostradamus warns about the collapse of fiat money, like coins and banknotes. Let not this prophecy be regarded as an exhortation to the market cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies were invented because banknotes have started and are still losing in value. Let's not forget that cryptocurrencies are wind-blown. They do not represent some constant value, such as gold. The moon at night on top of the high mountain. The young sage with the lonely brain sees it. He is invited by his students to be immortal. Eyes to the south, hands on the torso, bodies on the fire. This enigmatic quatrain is a prediction of artificial intelligence's rise. In reality, Bitcoin recently hit $100,000 for the first time, surging to a new record after President-elect Donald Trump unveiled administration picks seen as holding the keys to ushering in crypto-friendly policies when he takes office in January. Trump also posted a congrat post on his social media. Bitcoin touched $100,000 just hours after Atkins was announced as Trump's choice for Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) chair, and it shows signs of continued growth. Trump, once a crypto skeptic, had called it not money, labeling it highly volatile and based on thin air. But he took a 180 turn in the months leading up to his re-election as he sought to attract younger male voters who tend to own more crypto compared to other demographic groups. In July, Trump headlined the largest crypto convention in Nashville, where he vowed to create a strategic national Bitcoin stockpile, and to hold on to Bitcoin the government seizes from criminals rather than auctioning it off, which is the current practice. If crypto is going to define the future, I want it to be mined, minted, and made in the USA, Trump said. Then in September, Trump launched his own cryptocurrency business called World Liberty Financial. Additionally, he's considering creating the first ever White House role solely dedicated to crypto policy. And it seems that Trump's support has once again caused cryptocurrency to take off, just as Nostradamus once predicted. Now we discuss in detail the possible uprising of artificial intelligence, where superintelligent machines might decide not to follow our orders anymore, causing global chaos. Understand the implications of this uprising and how it could affect our daily lives, from controlling electricity to the internet. One of Nostradamus's most unsettling predictions for 2025 is the revolt of artificial intelligence against its human creators. In one of his quatrains, he wrote, "Combats, naval battles, bombings, and a global uprising of superior intelligence created by man." Although it is unclear exactly which year Nostradamus referred to, he suggests that the rapid advancement of AI technology could lead to a scenario where machines, robots, and algorithms develop self-awareness and decide to rebel against their human masters. The consequences of such an event could be catastrophic, disrupting industries, economies, governments, and everyday life globally. Some analysts believe the combat and naval battles mentioned in the prophecy could refer to growing tensions and conflicts between major world powers like the United States, China, Russia, and India, as they compete for control and influence over global resources, markets, and technologies, especially AI technology. As you know, throughout his re-election campaign, Trump received substantial support from Musk. Trump even publicly thanked and praised Musk in his victory speech. This is widely understood to mean that Musk's projects, especially those related to AI and technology, will likely receive significant support under Donald Trump's administration. Nostradamus, in his writings, predicted a series of social revolutions that will shake the world in the year 2025. According to his prophecies, these revolts will be the result of growing inequality and a population increasingly dissatisfied with social and political conditions. Nostradamus describes a fire that will burn in the heart of cities, which many have interpreted as a premonition of social unrest and revolutionary changes that could redefine the structure of modern societies. Nostradamus's predictions about social revolutions have been the subject of numerous interpretations over the years. However, in the current context, where social and economic inequality continues to grow, these prophecies have taken on new significance. The gap between rich and poor has widened, and racial, gender, and class tensions are reaching boiling points in many parts of the world. This environment is ripe for the type of social revolution that Nostradamus seems to have predicted. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was anticipating a massive uprising of the population against the ruling elites. References to fire in the heart of cities could be interpreted as riots and protests in large urban areas where inequality is most evident. In recent years, we have seen massive protests erupt in cities worldwide, from Hong Kong to Paris, in response to corruption, oppression, and lack of opportunities. Nostradamus's prophecy could be suggesting that these disturbances will intensify in 2025, leading to significant changes in the social order. Another interpretation suggests that these social revolutions could be driven by technology. Nostradamus mentions a new power that will arise and challenge existing structures, which some interpret as a reference to social media and digital technology. Today, online platforms have proven to be powerful tools for organizing and mobilizing social movements. From the Arab Spring to the Black Lives Matter movement, technology has played a crucial role in amplifying the voices of the oppressed and organizing large-scale protests. This prophecy could be a warning of a digital revolution that will change the dynamics of power in the world. However, not everyone is convinced that this prophecy will come true. Skeptics argue that Nostradamus's predictions are too vague and can be applied to almost any situation of social conflict. War. Threats of war. Entire nations clash with other nations. Famine, earthquakes, persecution of Christians, betrayal. False teachers make people believe the wrong doctrine. Lawlessness, half-hearted believers. Yet in all this, the true gospel is preached everywhere. Does all this sound like the days in which we live? Surely it does. We do, in fact, live in the last days of which Jesus spoke. Since he left this earth in the early 1st century AD, all people have been passing their time in the last days.
Labor pains don't get better, they get worse.
In Les Prophéties, published in 1555, Nostradamus mentioned 2025 there will be a number of troubles happening globally, including increased conflicts, geopolitical problems, wars at sea, problems with the royal family, and a major humanitarian disaster. But the biggest worry that humanity faces in 2025 is likely to be nature, when a series of climate disasters are predicted to occur and threaten human life. The dry earth will become drier, and suddenly a great flood will come. This is a verse taken from the work Les Prophecies, showing what Nostradamus predicted in 2025. To describe this verse, it can be understood that the already harsh climate situation will get worse. The French prophet predicts that extreme weather phenomena such as record heat, forest fires, droughts, and storms will increasingly occur with greater frequency and intensity. Global warming is a huge phenomenon going on in the modern day. The Bible does not specifically talk about climate change or global warming. However, the Bible does tell us the world will eventually be burned in fire, which could be another way to understand how alarming the Earth's condition will gradually become. 2 Peter 3:10 informs us, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare." God will one day erase this current universe and replace it with the new heavens and new earth. How much effort should be made saving a planet that God is eventually going to obliterate and replace with a planet so amazing and wonderful that the current earth pales in comparison? In a world gripped by uncertainty and unrest, the prophecies of Nostradamus have captivated believers and skeptics alike for centuries. Among his many predictions, none are as chilling as those foretelling the end times and the rise of a Middle Eastern Antichrist. With a reputation for accuracy, Nostradamus has unnerved generations with his eerily precise visions of future events. Now, in this article, we delve into the mysterious verses penned by the renowned seer and explore his warnings of cataclysmic events that could reshape our world forever. As we explore the prophecies of Nostradamus, we are confronted with chilling anticipation. The last book of the Bible begins with the curious and inspiring sentence, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants the things that must soon take place." The third sentence includes, "For the time is near." Just as amazing are the last recorded words of Jesus at the end of the book, "Surely I am coming soon." Jesus instructed all of his followers to be perpetually ready for his return, as in Matthew 24:42. "Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming." God clearly presents the Lord's return as imminent. Why then has he not returned after more than 2,000 years since his visible departure from the Mount of Olives? Jesus said he was coming soon. So what does soon mean? We're going to outline 2 reasons that we believe Jesus told us his reappearance to earth would happen quickly. Nonetheless, Jesus did tell us, finite humans, that he is coming soon. With the backdrop of his timelessness, we still seek to understand his reason for using the term knowing our limited nature. Let's then discuss the second, fascinating reason God may have expressed himself this way. If an exasperated mom wants her child to get out the door to an appointment for which they are already late because the child has been dilly-dallying for 20 minutes, the mom may exclaim, "Get over here, we must leave soon." In this case, when the mother says soon, she means right now. If a dad wants his teen to get serious about studying for his permit for a driver's license, the father might firmly remind his son 2 months before his eligibility date, "You better be preparing for your permit test, you'll be taking it very soon." In this case, when the dad says soon, he means in a couple of months. If a mother is trying to foster preparedness in her daughter, she might say to her, while the teen is still a high school freshman, "Take your classes seriously because you'll be going to college soon." In this case, when the mom says soon, she means in 4 years. Soon must be applied in context. In the first scenario with the distracted child, it is interpreted as in that very minute, whereas in the second case, it implies a more distant time down the road. However, the third college situation is the one in which the most planning is needed. Many years of serious study and responsibility are necessary to reach the goal. In the last case, soon calls us to recognize that much preparation must be made because the coming event is elaborate and weighty. Jesus tells us that he is coming quickly because his coming is the most important thing in the universe, the one event for which each Christian is aiming. Everything we do and say and are is invested in the eternal future to which he will usher us when he returns. The one event we cannot miss and must not be ill-prepared for is the coming of Jesus Christ to earth again, to remake this broken, sinful world into his perfect kingdom. The other view. The rivalry between the United States and China across various fields is emblematic of the shifting global landscape. China, in line with its peaceful rise, seeks to coexist and collaborate with the U.S. to address shared challenges such as climate change and public health, recognizing that unity is the key to global progress. The United States and China hold distinct positions reflecting their approaches to international issues. In addition, the struggle between the U.S. and China is also in the field of science and technology, including AI. First, let's see the AI competition. The economic and military significance of AI. The U.S. and China are locked in a constant battle for AI supremacy due to its potential economic and military advantages. This competition goes beyond technology and signifies a complex struggle for global leadership. AI's financial impacts are profound, reshaping industries and driving economic growth. Both countries recognize its potential for economic growth and invest heavily in research and development. Furthermore, AI's impact on national security is significant, with the ability to enhance military operations, strategic planning, and cybersecurity, making it a crucial component in the grand strategy of great powers. The American leadership in AI. At the moment, the United States is a world leader in AI development. Several major reasons have contributed to this position of leadership. The nation's legacy of invention and technology entrepreneurship comes first and foremost. Silicon Valley, widely regarded as the heart of technical progress, has continually led creative innovations. American tech behemoths such as Google, Facebook, and Apple have not only been forerunners, but have also established international standards for technical growth. These companies have exhibited an unrivaled ability to push the boundaries of technological achievement. Furthermore, the U.S. has an enormous technological infrastructure to assist its AI ambitions. This infrastructure includes cutting-edge hardware, software, and research institutes that have fostered technological progress. The innovation culture in the U.S. encourages risk-taking and testing, creating a fertile foundation for new solutions to growing difficulties. Now, let's move on to the Chinese challenge: determination, coordination, and alignment. As the United States retains its leadership in AI development, China has rapidly emerged as a formidable challenger. China's approach to AI development diverges significantly from the American model, characterized by a high degree of coordination between its tech companies and the government. China's strategic vision for AI. The Chinese government plays a prominent role in directing and shaping the nation's AI endeavors. In 2017, China unveiled an ambitious plan to become the world leader in AI by 2030. This vision reflects a level of determination and single-minded focus that defines China's approach to strategic planning and execution. It is worth noting that when China decides to support an industry, it does so with unwavering commitment, sparing no expense. Examples include the development of the world's most advanced high-speed rail network and the Belt and Road Initiative, a monumental effort that has established trade relationships with over 150 countries, conducting over $6 trillion worth of trade. These achievements exemplify China's capability to translate its policy pronouncements into tangible outcomes. Coordinated collaboration in China. A significant difference between the U.S. and China in AI development is how closely Chinese tech companies work with the government, unlike their U.S. counterparts, which operate more independently. Chinese tech firms align their goals with the government, not just following regulations, but also sharing a common vision in economic, geopolitical, and technological aspects. This close collaboration allows China to effectively pursue its AI goals. In China, each major tech company focuses on specific areas that align with national interests. For example, Alibaba concentrates on logistics and cloud services, Baidu focuses on search engine-related AI, Huawei integrates AI into various industries, and ByteDance specializes in video analysis and social media. This tailored approach helps China use AI effectively for its economic and industrial needs. How about the global implications and broader concerns? The competition between the United States and China in AI is not confined to the two nations. Its implications extend far beyond their borders. It is essential to recognize the broader global repercussions and concerns that this rivalry evokes, shaping the international system. The contest for AI dominance is emblematic of a broader shift in the international system. Traditional indicators of power, such as military might, territory, and economic capacity, are now supplemented by technological prowess and AI capabilities. In this evolving landscape of great power politics, the possession of cutting-edge technology carries substantial weight. AI, with its multifaceted applications, is emerging as a pivotal domain where nations assert their influence. The importance of AI in contemporary geopolitics cannot be understated. It shapes diplomatic maneuvering, economic cooperation, and security dynamics. Nations strive to secure their AI capabilities not only to protect their own interests, but also to influence the global system. This quest for AI leadership is expected to be a defining feature of international relations in the years to come. Economic fallout and microchip restrictions. One of the contentious issues within the US-China AI competition is the restriction of China's access to advanced microchips. This move underscores the complexity and interdependence of global supply chains and highlights the potential for economic consequences beyond the realm of AI. While such restrictions may be seen as a strategic move to hinder China's technological advancement, they risk harming the United States' own microchip industry. China is a significant market for American microchip manufacturers, and restrictions can lead to a loss of revenue and disrupt the global supply chain. The tension surrounding this issue reflects broader concerns about the evolving global power structure, diplomacy, and strategic thinking. The competition between the United States and China in AI is not merely a technological race, but a strategic contest that demands diplomatic finesse. Both nations must carefully navigate their positions on AI development, intellectual property, and security cooperation. At the same time, they must engage in multilateral forums and dialogues to address concerns related to AI ethics, governance, and global standards. Diplomacy becomes instrumental in managing the inherent risks associated with AI, including unintended consequences and ethical dilemmas. Nations need to come together to establish a framework for responsible AI development, ensuring that the technology serves humanity's interests rather than undermining global stability. The role of public opinion. The video prompts viewers to share their opinions on which country they believe will come out on top in the AI battle. Public opinion is a crucial dimension of this competition, as it reflects broader sentiment and perceptions of AI's impact on society and geopolitics. Understanding and engaging with public opinion can shape national policies and strategies in the AI race.